I also want to talk about this dude, Cletus McFarland, who I've been watching the rise of this guy over the last year or so. And it started on YouTube. And once he seemed to cross that plane into NASCAR, that was Daytona, right, Cole? Wasn't that Daytona where he actually joined them in the booth and people were going bananas like, who is this Cletus McFarland guy?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
He ran the ARCA race at Talladega, and the guys just got unlimited sound bites. And some of these sound bites make fantastic sense. And I wanted to highlight some of these things he had to say. One in particular, let me do the third sound bite, that helped back up something that I heard Mike Joy and Kevin Harvick talk about with these current NASCAR Cup Series drivers and the lack of popularity and the lack of raw emotion and video that we're not seeing from drivers and teams when they have access to some incredible behind-the-scenes activity that we know that fans are clamoring for. It's what Cletus McFarland does. When he blows a rod in his dragster, they show him having a really crappy day, and people love to see people having crappy days. I'd love to see a dude named Cletus having a crappy day regardless. But if you get a chance, look, check out who this guy is. It's Cletus McFarland. It goes by the name of Garrett Mitchell, who, again, is making bananas money via YouTube. He'll show up at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Coming up this Saturday, this
Right.
Friday and Saturday, he's doing the Indy 800 that has kicked off the month of May. It was a spectacular success last year.
Right.
And then, hot rod burnouts the very next day. So Lucas Oil Raceway in Indy on the west side, Claremont, Indiana. Yep, go check it out. Cletus has the entire weekend there.
Richie,
so
I'm going to start these because I'm on StreamYard. But he's raced against Tony Stewart and a number of other drivers out there in different disciplines. Cletus McFarland made his first visit to Talladega Boulevard. And I got to be honest with you. I've got to drive through it to exit, and I've been to Talladega, I think, 3 times now. And on Saturday night, I'm in the media center just cranking some long hours in there. So I'm blasting out of there at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I've never stopped. If I stop, who knows what would happen. But what little bit I drive through, you just know it's Sodom and freaking Gomorrah going on in there.
Did you see some blow-up dolls?
I didn't see any blow up. I just kept my
asking.
eyes. I kept my eyes on the freaking road.
Okay.
All right.
Valid.
Cletus McFarland talking about his visit to Talladega Boulevard in the infield on Saturday night.
Let me tell you something about the Talladega Boulevard. You know, I preach, just living the freedomatic life of being an American. But I don't know if I really knew the true meaning of freedom till I stepped foot on Talladega Boulevard. I mean, we're parked up, and there's just action happening. I can't get into the details because, honestly, it's not cool, man. Whatever happens on Talladega Boulevard has to stay there. I would say that if I posted some of the things that we saw, my channel would be deleted. It's just action, It's like you just don't know till you know. You go on Talladega Boulevard, you're seeing purebred Americans enjoying life to the absolute maximum. They love 2 things. That's booze and turning left. You know what I mean? That's Talladega Boulevard down there. And they're just living that life.
You know what? What is I can't think of the daggone account right now. An account that follows nothing but party people in racing. And they're huge with the Snake Pit in Indy. I would love to have them do a comparison. Talladega Boulevard versus Indy's Snake Pit. Come on. Because the same raucous stuff goes on in both
It's Talladega
areas.
Boulevard because the
Really?
Snake Pit is during the concert, right? And during the race.
It's during the race, yes, but I mean,
This is
the history of the Snake Pit and naked people there and beads and couches on fire and
true.
falling off of vans and
Wow.
Maybe 1A and 1B.
1A, 1B.
Yeah.
I could go with that. Yeah.
So I mentioned Cletus McFarland. That's, again, his alter ego. Again, his real name is Lawrence Garrett Mitchell. And Jennifer Fryer with
Who knew?
AP News. asked him about his alter ego and when he goes in and out of Cletus into Garrett.
When I first started the Cletus thing, it was like a redneck persona, and then like just slowly Garrett and Cletus have merged into one, and like you know, it really depends on the environment, right? Like when I get in trouble and per se have to go to the ARCA hauler for a chat, you know, that's Garrett. He's going in there. The other night we were at a campground and Jack Stan fired up the water slides, and the employees were really mad, and you know, Garrett had to go handle that situation. I had to go talk to the owner. But then when I pulled through the gates of Dega, you know, I'm just Cletus. It's like I really can't control it. I just I don't know. It's a good question, actually. I think I just live my life as both. Try to live my life how I want and have as much fun as possible with my friends. Like, winning with your friends is the best, and so we just travel around and have a good time.
And he videos all of his S with iPhones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Easy peasy. Just keep it simple.
Yep. One last soundbite from him, and maybe we're not going to have a whole lot of time to discuss it, but he was asked by your buddy with
Jacob Seelman, Raceface?
Yeah, Raceface.
Yeah.
I think it was Raceface or Kicking the Tire, one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And asked about the appeal for Cletus McFarland and really why we haven't seen it take off for the NASCAR Cup Series drivers. That raw behind the scenes video that we all clamor for, right? More Cletus.
I do feel like there's a major lack of YouTube opportunity in the garages. Like, if I was a Cup guy, I personally would be filming all that stuff. There's so much to show, and I think the audience is kind of begging for it. I think Carson Hocevar specifically is probably doing the most right now with the live streams and stuff. But like, if once someone picks up their iPhone and goes in their garages and is like showing the day-to-day struggles, because to me from the outside, like, it just seems like all the Cup teams are like so dialed in, so locked in, but we all know behind the scenes they're having, you know, some show days, for lack of better words, and we'd love to see it. You know, like, most of my videos that have done the best are on my worst days at the track. Once one driver really throws, you know, some cool, just homemade style YouTube videos up, and it may exist. I just think it's going to do really well for somebody.
You ain't wrong.
No, he's not. To take it on an IndyCar slant, the Arrow McLaren team started doing a lot of behind-the-scenes videos 2 years ago, and that's when their numbers just vaulted, vaulted upward. So yes, he's not wrong. That is what people want to see.
Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick had a brilliant conversation. Mike Joy was recently a guest on Kevin Harvick's podcast. And one of the things that they brought up was this generation of drivers brought up the fact that this generation of drivers, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, William Boring, these guys weren't brought up like previous drivers where you would have conversations with people coming up through life. And these individuals are stuck on social media. They're stuck on their phones. There are awkward moments between me and Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson and William Byron just because that's just their nature. Here's this loudmouth dude asking these funny questions, and sometimes I just don't know how to answer it. I'm just being honest with you. And what Cletus is talking about there, just getting behind the scenes, showing that these individuals are as raw and emotional and make as many mistakes as we do, will help these younger drivers become more popular with an aging population that's getting much older with NASCAR, and maybe bring in some younger fans into the series. All right, man. Tony Stewart, always fantastic when he rolls in the Freak Nation. You don't want to miss this. We've got a two-parter coming up. New dad, Tony Stewart. Also the question about cutting the umbilical cord comes up. Tony Stewart next. SpeedFreaks Pits, Lucas Oil Studios.